Officials at South Community Hospital gave 37 assistants the word today. Their jobs are being eliminated due to new federal restrictions in Medicare. But according to Terry Goodman, that doesn't mean the aides are out of work.
As positions open up within the hospital, they will be offered the position and they will have a 10-day period to consider the move. And hopefully they will choose to stay with us.
During this period of waiting for a job to open, will they receive their pay? And once they get the job, will their pay change?
Yes, they will continue in their nursing assistant position as long as a position does not open up within another department, and they will continue at their present salary and benefits.
These nursing assistants told Action 4 they're not working steadily and they're not getting full pay. They say they wait at home each day for a call telling them whether to come to work. According to the aides, if the caller says no, that means no money.
Well, like I said, I worked last night 11 to 7. It was the first time in 3 days. The last time I worked before that was Saturday. I was asked to stay home Sunday and Monday. In my situation, I'm a sole support of my family. I have no man in the house. I've got 3 that are in school, and eats ain't too great at my house.
These angered aides feel they have many long days in limbo ahead of them. According to South Community Hospital, it'll be several months before the job transfers will be straightened out. Sherry Sellers, Action 4 at South Community Hospital.
See, they're cultivated, cleaned out around just about every step. Every low spot we have right down through here has been cultivated and planted. We need to get some baggies and start pulling.
Today's raid by Harrah police and state narcotic agents netted over 150 low-grade marijuana plants. The illegal crop was discovered by an elderly couple hiking through the eastern Oklahoma County field. The couple notified the authorities, and today agents and police officers moved in. The plants were young and small and were located along the west bank of the North Canadian River. Agents call this type of pot river dope, and although it is low quality, its street value would have been over $75,000. It's the beginning of the marijuana planting season, and local authorities have their eye out for other fields.
This is the first one in eastern Oklahoma County this year. Of course, other counties are having larger problems than what we are. It's moving back into our area, and I have some other fields I'm looking at and kind of watching, but this is not an isolated. We have it growing in Oklahoma County.
Harrah police expect to have a suspect in custody by next week in connection with the illegal planting. Meanwhile, State Narcotic Bureau manpower is spread thin, so they're relying on local authorities like the Harrah police to pitch in and help take up the slack. Kevin Ogle, Action 4 in eastern Oklahoma County. Runners from all across the state showed up for today's Run of 83. This morning's cool temperatures forced most of the runners to spend pre-race time loosening up. The run was open to anyone who cared to participate. There were 2 races, a 3-kilometer event, and this one, the long 15-kilometer race. The runners were off for a grueling trip. 15 kilometers translates into one loop completely around Lake Hefner. And while there were no hills to contend with, just the length of the race was enough to worry about. Back at the finish line, contestants who had competed earlier in the short race caught their breath and waited for the outcome of the 15K event.
Here comes the runner. Stay off the road, please.
And what does the winner think of promoting running through the Hefner Trails project?
Oh, it's a great idea. You know, I think people really use it. If you want to generate some interest in running and exercise and just overall general health and stuff, it's the way to go.
We can avoid the mud puddles. It'll be nice to be able to stop and do the exercise, go roller skating. What are they going to have? Bicycle paths? I mean, it's going to be fabulous.
People are more health conscious now, and they like to get outdoors, and not everybody can spend 4 or 5 hours playing golf. So this and biking and so forth.
The run was a success, and Hefner Trails is one step closer to becoming a reality. A place people of all ages can enjoy and learn about physical fitness. Kevin Ogle, Action 4.
Actually, we're trying to do some light and fun things, like the kissing booth. We had a tush contest this afternoon and the talent shows. But also, we're trying to raise funds for some charitable projects. There's a little girl that's in a wheelchair, has multiple sclerosis, and she's single, raising 2 children, and we're trying to get her into special therapy. So we're trying to put emphasis on serious and fun.
There are certain inconsistencies with the initial reports regarding how the incident occurred and what closer examination of the evidence itself has shown. And once those inconsistencies are resolved, then the investigation will kind of take a direct path. We'll know a lot more about what we're dealing with when we resolve some of the inconsistencies that the investigators have in their minds right now.
Is only for OMH, doesn't service.
Yeah, this is just normal.
I've been down here.
Just a couple.
What about, she wants to know if
Few days.
It's alleged that the suspects entered the savings and loan approximately noon, at which time one suspect turned and went to the secretary on one side of of the building, which would be the north side of the inside of the building. As he held a gun at the woman there, the other suspect jumped the counter and began taking and bagging money from that. At that point in time,
by now, this is what the Galleria area of downtown Oklahoma City should look like. Developer Vincent Carrozza promised the Urban Renewal Authority in 1978 he could do the job, but the Galleria still remains only a parking lot. Carrozza was scheduled to begin work on the Galleria no later than December of 1981. And shops were to be built above the parking lot. But Carrozza said he wanted the retail section of the Galleria to be subsidized by $8 million from the private sector. That's when the contract was canceled. However, the Galleria project is not dead.
I plan, along with the mayor of the city, to sit down probably next week and discuss the formation of a committee of persons in Oklahoma City just as interested as we are in bringing to Oklahoma City a first-class situation down there in the Galleria area, which will mean we will try to bring some first-class stores down there, at least 2 department stores.
Okay. Offhand, do you have any plan of attack in the way of luring the first-class stores, as you mentioned, to consider Oklahoma?
Well, that's a difficult question. I'm not in that field, but we have been told by those who are in it that Oklahoma City is what is known as a discount town. That is, we don't have the clientele to, say, bring in a Neiman Marcus or Bullock's or I Magnum. However, I was in San Francisco just a few weeks ago, and I Magnum had closed there, so it looks like the economy all over the United States is that way. However, we do think with a lot of effort we can bring in some type of stores, and we're going to work toward that effort.
These 2 downtown office buildings have already been completed by Carrozza as part of the Galleria project. But some downtown business leaders feel the city has been taken because the retail development of the Galleria was never started. Yet a 3rd office building is scheduled to begin construction soon. Ed Stewart, Action 4 in downtown Oklahoma City.
The National Finals Rodeo will once again be held in Oklahoma City this December. For 18 years, Oklahoma City has been the site of the NFR. And for 18 years, the local economy has received a shot in the arm because of the revenue generated by the rodeo. But this year's NFR will be different. For one, the National Cowboy Hall of Fame will not be involved. Hall board members voted to disassociate from the event because it was affiliated with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. The move prompted speculation the PRCA would not want to come back to Oklahoma for the NFR. But yesterday in Denver, PRCA officials signed the contract.
As far as some of the older cowboys are concerned and the people that have been around a long time as far as the NFR goes, well, I think they would have probably preferred to remain associated with the Hall. But all things considered, everything went well as far as the meeting was concerned, and the fact that they're coming back is a good thing for Oklahoma City.
With the Cowboy Hall of Fame controversy behind them, chamber officials believe next year's attempt to bring the NFR back to Oklahoma City will be easier. Kevin Ogle, Action 4.
The incident involving this shooting was presented to the district attorney's office yesterday, and the district attorney declined filing any charges against the officer. So I anticipate that the discharge of weapons board will convene sometime earlier, mid next week, and some decision will be made by the department on Officer Bybee.
is that after he's talked with the governor, the two of them will be available.
Okay. Is any kind of a surprise?
Frankly, I would have been surprised if the Justice Department had. I would say to a degree the department will be relieved. The department has been trying to do this job as best it can, so I don't know if it'll make any great changes in the way we operate, but as long as investigations are underway, there are always a little more tensions than there are under normal circumstances.
The increase awards Southwestern Bell $43.7 million, translating into a $2.40 per month rate hike for residential users and a $7 boost for businesses. The company had asked for a $65.5 million interim increase. Bell is seeking a $138.5 million permanent increase, but the commission has suspended it for a month and wants to see another report on the company's divestiture from AT&T. In a public hearing earlier this year, Bell officials tried to explain their reason for the request, saying even with an increase, the phone company provides the best buy for the buck. But most people at the hearing weren't listening.
Hear you loud and clear when you say you want more profit. We'd like to increase our profit also, but we don't have a chance. We own fixed incomes. We that are unemployed haven't got a chance.
But the corporation commissioners see it differently and believe Southwestern Bell is in need of money now.
Southwestern Bell presented on the record in the hearing on the merits in the interim a financial situation that shows that they are, under current situation, in need of some relief. And that's why the commission has authorized the $43 million today.
While the permanent increase is under consideration, the Corporation Commission has ordered Bell to hold public hearings in every county it serves to provide information on the divestiture from AT&T and its implications involving customers. Kevin Ogle, Action 4.
Would you believe that by 7 o'clock this morning, people were already lined up to get tickets for a show 5 hours away? But they must have known there would be a big crowd because they came armed with playing cards and other things to pass the time. The show at noon packed in 600 people, and from the looks on their faces when the show ended, they would probably go through the same long wait again.
Oh, I loved it. It was really good.
Was it better than the other movies?
I think so.
Was it worth the wait?
Definitely. I waited 3.5 hours for it. It was definitely worth it.
We're now ready to seat for the 2:45 showing. Will you please have your tickets ready for the doorman?
As for me personally, I'll probably wait a couple of weeks till all the crowds die down before I go and see it. But still, isn't it nice to see this kind of excitement about something? It's called spring fever, that mystical something that makes everyone want to get outdoors and enjoy Mother Nature. The weather just seems to bring out the child in all of us. But unfortunately, it's this careless air of youthfulness that leads to a collection of summer accidents that can range from cuts and bruises to sunburns. For those minor emergencies, doctors suggest you pack a first aid kit in your picnic basket. They're easy to make and shouldn't cost more than $10. Just get an old cardboard or tackle box and fill it with the following items: bandages, adhesive tape and gauze, alcohol or peroxide, aspirin, cleansing solution, and scissors. Once you've got a basic kit, you can add on to it. Just remember to keep its contents clean and current.
It will need to be updated periodically. Bandages that are sterilely prepared may lose their sterility over time. Certainly medicines will expire, so the expiration date should be checked and items replaced as they do expire.
There's one other thing that's important to remember. Your summer safety kit should never take the place of a doctor. Sherry Sellers, Action 4 for Medical Matters.
Concho Indian School is the only Indian boarding school in Oklahoma for grade schoolers, and this may be the last 8th grade class to graduate from Concho. Administrators say lack of federal funds is the problem, and Concho is just another victim of budget cuts. The latest word is that no funding will be allocated for the next school year. 24 of the school's 140 students received their certificates of promotion today. Concho has been graduating Indian pupils since 1871. Teachers and students say Concho helped Indian students in ways public schools never could. School officials add they are still hopeful but confused because they have been told to prepare a school calendar for next year.
You know, it hurts when I hear it that we're going to be closed, and then the next day somebody says, well, go ahead and make a class schedule for next year and plan your calendar, and say, okay, you know. And then you just go along and people ask, you know, is the school going to close? Have you heard? And then that's when it hits me, you know. No, I haven't heard, and it's a little scary.
Most of the graduates plan to attend Indian high schools. Today's ceremony was supposed to symbolize that Concho could still achieve its goals, despite troubles. Students were told this was only their beginning, while wondering if it was the end for Concho. Ed Stewart, Action 4 at the Concho Indian School.
It's been relatively heavy, however not as heavy as what it has been in the past. We had a bunch of boats, and quite a few violators, but they were all staying in pretty good shape overall. One minor accident. Good morning. Morning. Are you all about ready to pull out of the lake? Yeah. Sir, you're going to have to stay on the back of that seat. This wind.
Recovery, in my judgment, merely means going back to where this economy was in the early and mid-1970s, flat and stagnant and not growing. Recovery that just gets us back to that position and out of a recession is not adequate. The goal of this nation, again regardless of our party, must be an economy that grows and expands and offers opportunity for all.
April and May showers can produce more than just June flowers. The recent rains we've seen here in the Oklahoma City area can soon have us battling nature's bloodsucker, the bug that bugs us all, the mosquito. Not all of the 8.5 inches of rain we've received this month has soaked into the ground. Some of the water is stagnating, waiting for a mama mosquito to lay her eggs. We've been lucky so far this year. The rains have actually interfered with mosquito breeding.
Every time they get a hatch rolling, we get a rain and it washes them out into the streams, and consequently that provides food for the fish and they eat them, and so that destroys the hatch. But if this rain quits and we have water standing like you see around in some of the areas, then we're going to have some problems with them.
The best way to prevent mosquito overpopulation is to wipe out the bug's breeding ground. Anything which can catch water should be drained. The city-county health department can't afford to spray for mosquitoes, but the agency will send out a pest detective to track down where the culprits are coming from. The city has the power to force landowners to clean up the nuisance area so the bloodsuckers won't bug us. Scott Wallace, Action 4, Southwest Oklahoma City.
Wilson officials began suspending union employees this morning, alleging the workers had slowed down on their productivity. By late morning, all union employees had been removed from the plant.
When they come in today, well, I work 20 minutes, and then they suspended me until Monday. And they give, I went and got 2 guards come up there and escort me out, and they clocked me out. And then after that, well, the others were escorted out too.
And how long did they say you'd be suspended?
Until Monday.
Without pay?
Without pay.
Union officials claim they have been forced out of the plant and a strike has not been called. The Wilson controversy has been brewing for weeks. Wilson filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy, lowering union salaries by as much as 40%. In addition, benefits were cut. The company claims high labor costs were leaving them uncompetitive, but union officials say commodity market spending is the reason for the company's financial problems. Wilson executives have denied the charge.
Madison's the one I'm thinking about. Oh, yeah.
What? We had one sent in with it by... Yeah, let's see.
Are you getting,
all I'm doing started out the year wonderfully, didn't it? 20, 33, and 20. The middle school figures are probably significantly higher in almost every category. And we're finding violence. The complaints run all, just run the gamut from just disrespect, from vandalism to, physical violence against other students and against teachers. Okay, 20, 13. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. And very good, 20. That doesn't come out right there.
no category.
Use your arms, and
They're elated. They're thrilled to death. The things that we have done to finish the facility, the extra things we've added that were never here before, the magnificent equipment, the service, they're elated that we're accepting them. It's wonderful.